So the saga of Ilhan Omar keeps evolving, whether it be a united front of Democrats attempting to attack her and smear her and introduce legislation to basically rebuke her. Although Ilhan Omar hasn't said anything that's crazy or preposterous, all she says is things like, "Hey, I know this might sound crazy. Maybe this is out of the norm, but it sounds to me that foreign foreign influence on politics has gotten a little bit out of hand. You know, the same thing that the Democrats were alleging about Russia, but except for with facts and things like that. Yeah, they said, nah, you can't talk about that. You're anti-Semite. They name call. They allege they don't ever discuss the issue at hand. They never discuss her comments or the validity of her comments or the legitimacy of her comments or the factual basis of her comments or anything like that. Instead, they attack her quote unquote Americanness. They hit her with underhanded bigotrous and xenophobic dog whistles. That's what they do. And it served as no surprise at me or for me when I saw that Tulsi Gabbard was having none of that. Because even though the Democrats have had their fair share of joining up on Ilhan Omar, what the Republicans have been doing has been far worse. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like most Democrats are going to speak out about it. But considering that Tulsi Gabbard has been attacked in very similar ways that Ilhan Omar has been attacked, I think that it's not, like I said, it's not all that surprising that she felt the need to speak up. Because, well, when you're speaking out against the military-industrial complex, in whatever form it may take, you will be attacked. And 99% of the time, those attacks will almost always be illegitimate, disingenuous, nonsensical, all that good stuff. None of it, like, it's always going to be an ad hominem, right? You're anti-Semitic. Well, is there money from Israel's lobbyists flowing into the American government? Whoa. Let's not move the goalposts here, okay? The fact of the matter is, this person is anti-Semitic. Well, what about the comments itself? We debate the merits of the... No, Let's stay focused. Let's stay on subject. Anti-Semitic, the comments are irrelevant. Well, I think the comments might be relevant, sir. No, they aren't. Because she's Muslim and black and Somali and a refugee. That's basically what has been happening. Well, what about what Tulsi is saying about, same thing with Tulsi, right? What about what she's saying about regime change wars and all the facts behind them, including the fact that humanitarian aid is oftentimes the precursor to a regime change war, especially when Elliot Abrams is involved. Well, Tulsi met with Assad. Well, yeah, she's a congresswoman. She should be meeting with world leaders if they ask to broker peace for the people, right? No. I don't think you heard me. She met with Assad, but aren't regime change wars dangerous for the people? Look, we're not talking about those people right now. She met with the murderous dictator, quote unquote. It doesn't matter why she met with him. Well, what if it's to broker peace? Because you said you want to be in remember, he's a murderous dictator. So if we can stop him from being a murderer. No. She never met with him. That's what we're seeing from both sides of the fence when it comes to people like Omar and Tulsi Gabbard. So I want to just talk about Tulsi's tweet. She said, "We must stand united to condemn religious bigotry. The anti-Muslim bigotry and hate expressed towards Representative Omar, comparing her to 9/11 terrorists, is reprehensible." And let me just say, before I go into that article that Tulsi tweets out, thank you, Tulsi, for saying that. Calling this what it is. See, there haven't been many people. The only two that openly spoke out, like from the beginning, was Tulsi, Bernie. Bernie made it very clear. We must stand with our Muslim brothers and sisters in response to both of the attacks from the Democrats and the Republicans. He didn't caveat and say, oh, but Israel deserves the right to exist. He didn't caveat by saying any of that type of stuff. He made it very clear, I see what you all are doing. And let me just let you know that I rebuke that. And I know what this really is. I understand the dog whistle attacks that you were trying to use against Omar. And I'm not going to stand for it. Tulsi Gabbard does the same thing here, not shying away from the realities of bigotry, xenophobia, and racism within both the Democratic Party and Republican parties. But right now, this article is specifically speaking about the Republican Party. So The Hill covered an article or covered a situation in Minnesota where Ilhan Omar represents, where there was a poster linking Ilhan Omar to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And it actually caused a breakout in the West Virginia State House. So my apologies. This was not in Minnesota. This was in West Virginia. So a poster. Sorry, The Hill keeps trying to hit me with ads. But a poster on display at the West Virginia State House comparing Representative Ilhan Omar to 9/11 terrorists prompted a heated argument between lawmakers on Friday that resulted in a physical injury and one of the lawmakers' resignations. The poster was reportedly put on display as a part of a Republicans Take the Rotunda event. It shows a photo of the Twin Towers in flames with the words, "Never forget, you said," followed by, "I am proof that you had forgotten." And those words were placed on top of a photo of Ilhan Omar. That's disgusting. Let's continue. So, Democrats in the State House complained about the display in the state level. I'm very clear about that. I hope we don't think that, the national level Democrats at large are going to show a sense of even a single shred of integrity and call out this nonsense, because that would detract from the narrative. Well, their narrative. We figured it out. They're joining up with Republicans in order to push xenophobic dog whistle rhetoric that would ultimately condemn Ilhan Omar's comments, no matter how truthful they may be. But I'm glad that the state legislature for West Virginia did speak up. Now, they got into an explosive argument at the State House with the State House Sergeant at Arms, Ann Lieberman, for allegedly making an anti-Muslim remark. Now, according to Democrat Mike Angelucci, Lieberman said that all Muslims are terrorists. He called the comment hate speech and was furious over it. Lieberman denied making the comment to a local news outlet, but later actually resigned that afternoon after the accusation. Now, Republicans reportedly defended the display as free speech, with the state delegate Deanna Graves saying that freedom of speech is something that we have to protect. Y'all, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. Let's start with the fact that they said we could start where we ended. A Republican has the unmitigated gall to claim that free speech must be preserved, as these same Republicans, along with several Democrats, we're talking about the Republicans right now. Democrats get theirs daily, trust me. But today it's about the Republicans, or at least in this iteration. These same Republicans, along with several Democrats, are trying to push legislation to make it criminal to speak out against Israel's apartheid government. To speak out, speak. But they want to talk about the preservation of free speech. Now, why was that poster put up? It's important to understand this. We have to understand how stupid these people are. They don't care, right? I don't know if they know how stupid they sound when they make some of these comments, but let's be very clear. They most likely don't care how stupid they sound. I mean, let's be honest. So let's talk about why was that poster put up? Because there have been comments made from Ilhan Omar, basically going out of her way to it's not only about Israel, by the way. She's condemned the military-industrial complex basically at every turn since she's entered office. She spoke out against Venezuela and was the first out of the New Democrats to speak out against the Venezuelan coup. She was on it, got it 100% right, unapologetically. Obviously, she critiques Israel's apartheid government, or I should say regime. So that's where it started, right? Now, because she discussed money in politics, specifically Israel's money in politics, she was automatically deemed anti-Semitic and therefore anti-American because of the false conflation of Americans having to be pro-Israel because they're quote unquote the only democracy in the Middle East, which is totally untrue, by the way. So because of that, everyone attacks her, calling her anti-Semitic, trying to silence her. Right now, the GOP, ironically enough, is working on legislation to censor Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. To censor them. Censor, literally. Using the government to censor speech and discourse. So, in an ironic turn of events, Ilhan Omar makes an objectively factual comment regarding Israel's lobbying influence in our politics. They hang up an actual xenophobic poster, an actual Islamaphobic poster. And when people are like, you need to take that down, that is ridiculous. You have lost your ever-loving mind. Baby Jesus is watching you right now, shaking his head. They say, nah, we can't do that. We need to preserve free speech. Talk about a full circle of bullshit. That is bullshit coming full circle. We can't take that down. Hey, but Ilhan Omar, we can't take that poster down, but Ilhan Omar better not say that politicians take money from lobbyists again, or we might have to pass legislation to censor her. What? Really? Are you kidding me right now? I am so sick. Yeah, and just really quick, and I'm not going to talk about this very long, but systemic discrimination, racism, whatever you want to call it. This is how it looks, in case you were wondering. This is how it works. See, some people are under the impression that because we passed some laws, we passed some amendments a few years ago, that for some, all the racism and bigotry and xenophobia just disappeared like fairies. They come and they go. Racism has gone somewhere to Never Never Land, aka Birmingham, Alabama. But people believe that racism isn't a problem. It doesn't affect jobs. It doesn't affect positions, pay, acceptance into college. It doesn't affect the way cops think. Listen, people. These are state legislators going at it over whether or not that poster was clearly racist, xenophobic, and bigoted. It was. There's no debating it. And if you're coming into the comment section debating, I'm going to fry you up. Because there's no debating it. There's no excuse that you can make. But there were lawmakers, elected officials, who were debating the validity of that poster, protecting it as free speech. Think about that. Do you know what intersectionality is when it comes to this type of stuff? Systemic discrimination and racism? That particular group was a group of lawmakers. But if they could become a lawmaker, they can become a teacher. They can become a lawmaker, they can become a police officer. They can become a lawmaker, they can become a CEO that's responsible for hiring you, your friends, your family. If they can become a lawmaker, they can become a judge. sentencing you, your family. If they can become a lawmaker, they can influence the outcomes of whatever community they would like based off of whatever occupation they may hold, and never have to utter a racial slur while doing it. This is how the prison industrial complex has been able to persist. This is why black youth communities specifically are dominantly unemployed no matter how many jobs they apply to. This is why black people, for some reason, are no matter how successful they may be, are denied certain business loans via antiquated redlining methods. This is why cops can do what they want to, and people are so quick to say, well, we don't know if it was racist. We just witnessed, like I said, this is from the Hill. The Hill is telling you this. They're pretty conservative. The Republicans were debating keeping it up, not wanting to call it what it was, saying that poster linking Ilhan Omar to 9/11 terrorism was somehow appropriate and should be protected. You're telling me none of those people can put on a uniform, pull out a gun, and shoot someone that they don't like because of this color of their skin? They can't do that. They can't deny someone a job because of the color of their skin, the religion they practice, the country they come from. You're telling me that doesn't exist. It's nonsense. This Ilhan Omar controversy is really exposing things that many of us have been discussing forever, giving examples of, and people will say, well, look at what Obama did. Obama became president, therefore black people have made it. That's not the case, nor is it even close to being true. But when you have another example, like we talk about the prominence of Islamophobia in this country, specifically within the Democrat, or not the Democrat Party, specifically within the Republican Party. We talk about that regularly. But it's always blown out. They always say it's not a Muslim ban. It wasn't a ban on Muslim. It isn't inherently Islamophobic. Now we have someone who has a microphone, has a voice, has potential to make big waves, has found success on her own. And the moment she stands up, the same way they did the MLK, they use your identity, the very identity that may have assisted you in achieving some of the success that you've achieved. They weaponize it and try and remind you, as Jay-Z said. He said, y'all drag me to court for that shit. It's backwards. After all, he's talking about when he went to Cuba. He went to Havana on his, I think it was his honeymoon, despite the fact that there was an embargo, but he don't care about that type of stuff. But he said, y'all drag me to court for that shit. Y'all backwards. After all these years of drug trafficking. He said, time to remind me I'm black again. All this talking back, I'm too arrogant, huh? That's basically when you don't stay in your place, this is the type of stuff that happens. When I say stay in your place, I mean that there is a specific, I don't know what you want to call it, unspoken laws, unspoken rules that the black community within politics dominantly follows. Don't think so? Look at what happened when the CBC endorsed Hillary Clinton. What the hell? Barbara Lee endorsing Kamala Harris. Sean King even endorsing Hillary Clinton after he knows her. Like, I'm not saying Sean King's black, I'm just saying. There is an unspoken law. You stay in place and you will be rewarded with pretty titles and money. But if you don't, we will end you. And we will use so many dog whistles, make so many racist associations to your name. We will link you to whoever we have to see you come to an end. Because they know, that's the scary part. Most of America Most of America wants to believe racism isn't real. Systemic racism isn't real. But the funny thing is, the only reason that the politicians use it, the dog whistles, the Southern strategy, Nixon, that I believe it was Nixon and then Reagan who used it primarily, still being used today. They use these dog whistles because they know racism is still real. But there are some people who are silly enough to not think that it exists, or to think that it doesn't exist. And systemic racism is a non-factor. They know it's real, but the people are still debating whether or not it's real. So Ilhan Omar, first of all, shout out to Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you for calling this out. Hope to see other people speak out against this as well. Ilhan, we're with you. I'm sorry you have to go through this, but you're a maverick right now. They're only boosting your presence. God forbid they try some underhanded tactic to unseat you. It's going to be a problem if they do, because I can foresee her having a much more powerful voice outside of Congress even, and inside of it. And now in the area of social media, you try to silence somebody like that, you will only give them a bigger microphone. Keep doing what you do, Ilhan. And thank you once again, Tulsi. Thank you for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Help us reach our goal of 500 patrons. You can do so by donating as little as $1 by clicking on the Patreon link in the description below. Don't forget, join us on Roku and JustNForm. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.